And our newest sponsor, Stream Supply Co. Got all your streaming needs, everything you can think of from keyboards, headsets, microphones, monitors, mice, and webcams, and more. Make sure you go check them out. When you use at checkout code GROCK, GROCK, you will get 5% off any purchase. So, link is in the description, and so is that code. Welcome back, everybody, and we're going to go through do another one of our 10 things list, and these are going to be 10 perks of being a player. So let's bring that up. And while being the DM, you do get a lot of power. Players are really what are there to really hit this. So we're going to kind of go in and look at it and go from there. So there are 9 of these. I'm going to be adding my own number 10. So because it says 10 things at the top, only 9. This one is from Victor Coble. Was posted at the end of the last year. The link will be down in the description as always. So no planning required. So essentially, that's true. The only thing you really have to worry about planning is your next actions. So what you're going to do next, what you're going to go on when you level up. That's about it because the DM takes care of all the pre-planning for you. So this is definitely a perk of being a player, just because the DM takes care of all that. Now it says Dungeons and Dragons here, but this goes for any tabletop RPG. And we'll roll right along into number 8. Entire events are based on players' actions. So yeah, the DM has a plan. The plans can go sideways if the players decide they want to go sideways. Um, you can do go side questing, force the DM to kind of rebuild the plans, alter events, trash ideas simply because of how the players progressed. Uh, I don't know, less extreme players are meant to be the protagonists in the story, whether they are good or not. It's their story, so of course the story should revolve around them. I think that's what a lot of DMs forget about is the players are actually the center of everything, uh, and their actions do change the world. They get a prize. This is completely true. A player has the luxury of not knowing what is around the corner. It could be cool loot, twists of the story, a boss. The dungeon master might uh, get surprised too from time to time based on what the players come up with. So you could come up with an interesting way that you wind up taking out a boss or getting in there to getting the cool things from the loot, interesting ways of extracting that loot. uh, Basically, it's just you just have to kind of the DM along with the players just kind of have to roll with it. The players get to come up with clever solutions. So the DM says this is what you got, then you get to plan on how you're going to thwart that. So with this, DMA maybe one to set forth a problem. It's up to the players to solve it. That means if they're going to come up with the solution the DM has prepared for, it always leads to some interesting interactions. Some of the best moments in D&D or any tabletop role-playing games comes when someone does something ridiculous, amazing, or completely unexpected. Changes how things play out. I definitely agree with that. Players get to actually play the game. This is one of the biggest things I hear from people who are like forever DMs. I never get to play the game. And, it's true. If you set yourself up that way, you never do get to play the game. Uh, This one's a little obvious, but the players actually get to play the game, enjoy the fruits of someone else's labor, solve the puzzles, figure out problems, get all the shiny loot. Ooh, shinies! Uh, there's a reason that even long-standing DMs have to step down from time to time and just play the game. It's a lot of fun. It feels like an actual game rather than a chore when you're DMing. They don't have to know all the rules because the essentially the um, DM is the one that comes up with all those rules. So the rules, of how things work, that all is right there. That's what the DM's job is, um, and they're there to remind the players if they're overstepping their bounds. A player doesn't have to remember much past the basics and don't need to memorize the rule book, even though I know some that do. The biggest decisions are not up to them. The dungeon master has decided what everything means, what's going to happen, even decide on the setting. That gives the players more freedom to be active as they play. They don't need to constantly react to what someone else is doing. But there are plenty of points for that. Um, they get to explore and keep themselves in the forefront instead of worrying about everybody else. Number two here, there is no game without players. That is pretty much goes without saying. Without the players, you don't have a game. Without the DM, you don't have a game. I know there are some DM-less ones out there, but truthfully, things do run better when you have a DM. And number one on their list, they can get help from other players. So yeah, they can bounce ideas off each other. They can plan, keep the plans on what they're going to do, and progress as a group, do things together. And this kind of leads into my number one because, like I said, there was only nine things on this list. Number one is that they get to have fun. That's the biggest thing, is that they get to have fun. Uh, Make sure that they are enjoying themselves. Make sure that they are you know just overall having fun. So that's going to do it for this episode of 10 Things. I want to thank everybody for taking a little bit of time out to watch me, do a little something I love, talk about RPGs. And also make sure you do subscribe. And also down below, you'll also see my Redbubble store. Do have some primo G Rock gear down there, so make sure you do check that out. And I'll catch you guys next time.